And we are back for the second half here at Guilderland High School in the Section 2 Class AA quarterfinals. Matchup between the Dutchmen and Bethlehem Eagles. Dutchmen a 6-0 lead at halftime. Jason Plotsky, Jason Sindoni rejoin you for the second half after plenty of opportunities for both sides were presented, but only one was cashed in by the Dutchmen. Late in the first half, a 2-yard touchdown run by Joe Park provided the Dutchmen the 6-0 lead. The missed 2-point conversion was incomplete. Marinopoulos looking for Fedorchak. It was on the 2-pointer, but the Dutchmen still hold a 6-0 lead. Bethlehem couldn't respond in their final drive of the half, but they will look to respond here as they will begin the second half with the ball after Guilderland won the toss and elected to receive at the beginning of the game, and the second half is just about set to get underway.
This has been just a really great defensive half. Both teams have been just really on top, both offensive and defensive lines. And so now it's just up to the offense in the second half that's really going to make this game interesting.
So Matt Clark will do the kickoff for the Dutchmen as Bethlehem will get the ball first. Rodriguez taking it to the 40 where Nick Cardinal swings him out of bounds. Nick Cardinal, the interception at the end of the first half, getting his first time on varsity after this is just his third game. Had the interception at the end of the first half, has done a fair job, I should say, on special teams this evening.
Another great play by Cardinal, and also another good job by Rodriguez. We saw him he made that nice play at the end of the half, and unfortunately it was taken back due to Montalvo going over the line of scrimmage. So he's another guy besides Mendelson, as we mentioned before. He's going to be really important in this game.
So Montalvo will be under center to begin the second half with 3 men in the backfield. Mendelson taking the handoff left, and he is tackled at the 43. Tyler Hess and Evan Gallup.
And as we see here, again, Bethlehem trying to go up the middle, and it seemed to go a little left, but some great defense by Tyler Hess. They were able to prevent them from breaking up the middle and getting some extra yards.
Gain of 3 to the 43, so it will be 2nd and 7 for the Eagles, who have some prime field position to begin the half. Montalvo handing off to Mendelson. He runs into Hines. Has to come back to the center where he is tackled by 52, Pat Winslow. And I believe Tyler Hess was also in there. That he was.
Another great defensive play by Tyler Hess and Patrick Winslow. Again, he hasn't been mentioned many times, but another nice tackle for him this game. And so it was tough because Andy Hines was going for the tackle and Mendelson really pushed him out of the way, but it was really good that the rest of the defense was able to back him up.
So on 3rd and 7, Montalvo will roll to his right. Still rolling, will heave it deep. And there is a receiver just waiting for the ball. Dylan Rodriguez once again gets behind the defense and down inside the Dutchman 10-yard line where Bethlehem will have an opportunity to take the lead.
Rodriguez was waiting for that moment, and now it is here. A nice catch with the pass from Montalvo. They are really close to the end zone, as we see here, just past the 20, getting closer to the 10. And that play that was taken away from the first half has been brought back to the second half.
So to the 11-yard line, it will be for Shaker, a gain of 50 yards. Just a huge play that just takes the sails, or the wind out of the sails, I should say, for the Dutchmen. But a good opportunity to stymie the offense of the Eagles here as Palo will run left, cut back in and into the end zone, touchdown Bethlehem. Riley Palo, 11-yard touchdown run, and this game's tied.
Palo has been a really good running back. One of the guys behind Mendelson, who is the main running back, and as we see, not trying to go up the middle. They move to the outside, and a great job by the Bethlehem defense, forcing the Guilderland defenders away. He runs down the line and gets Bethlehem their first touchdown of the game.
So after the 46-yard completion from Montalvo to Rodriguez, Palo does the rest. Cameron Coons here on for the extra point. And it is good. And just when Guilderland thought they had their home field defended well, they're down 7-6 early in the third quarter, and not a good sign. We saw Tyler Hess taking a long time to get up off the field.
And as we saw him on that play, he really wanted that ball, really got around the Bethlehem offensive line, tried to block that field goal, but just couldn't get it. And as we see again, not looking too good, really limping off that field. And he's had a lot of ankle problems, as we mentioned before. He's been out most of the game at Shen last week with an ankle problem, and it's said that he's had ankle problems for most of the season, during practices and during games, yet they did not diagnose him.
Injury was obviously there, but Tyler Hess, one of the toughest players on this team, just an incredible player all around, and showing off his toughness, remained on the field for the majority of the season, missed up until last week where he missed the majority of the Shen game. And now he'll have to be a big piece on both sides of the ball if the Dutchmen want to come back from a now deficit with 9:58 left to go in the third quarter.
So now Bethlehem with a 1-point lead, 7-6. They kick off to the Dutchmen, and this is going to be another big drive right here.
So that one will bounce into the end zone for an automatic touchback in high school football. And the Dutchmen will look to drive down the field. George Marinopoulos will try to come back with his multiple options that he has in Gallup and Custard, Park, Stephon Brantley, all have the opportunity to provide a big lead or a big boost for this Dutchman team if they want to come back here now down in the second half.
I think you do mention Brantley, and as we see with his stats, he has 21 rushes for 286 yards, which when he gets those big gaps, you know, it's huge as we see him run on this play. He's had a lot of opportunities where he's run 70, 80 yards for a touchdown on multiple occasions. We're talking 3-4 touchdowns on the year. And so he's a guy who's really important. You got to find him some space, and he'll do the job for you.
This time he's caught right at the line by Palo. Riley Palo having a heck of a sequence of plays there. Marinopoulos throwing to his left. Joe Park with the reception. Caught down by Mosier. And good play there. Marinopoulos looking to Park.
And a nice pass, short pass to Park. Didn't have to be anything too big, too fancy. It was right to him. He makes a nice pass. And as we saw Park, he's been just spinning all over the place. He looks like a twister out there. But he's able to get the pass and get some extra yards for the Dutchman.
1st and 10 for the Dutchman. Marinopoulos in the gun. Looking deep once again. Over the middle, and Cody Custard with an incredible catch over the defender. Number 24, Colin Baker.
I mean, that's hard to describe that catch. He practically caught it over his helmet. As we see, Marinopoulos going back, had a lot of time. A great job by the offensive line. And as we see here, he practically caught it over the helmet. It was a great defense by number 24, Colin Baker, but it wasn't enough. And a great play by Cody Custard, but there is a flag on the play.
Flag was pass interference. That will obviously be declined. The Dutchman getting the ball down to the 31. So a gain of 39 yards all the way down to the 31-yard line. Cody Custard, what an incredible reception that was.
So Guilderland with a huge advantage right now.
Marinopoulos will throw right to Park on the swing. He only gets about 1 yard before Ethan Shira cuts him down. And the Dutchmen right back where they look to be in the heart of Bethlehem territory to the 29-yard line.
And so again, Marinopolis going with the short passes. And so those have been working so far. And with that Hail Mary, both Hail Marys to Fedorchuk and to Custard have worked. He's been trying to mix them up a little bit, throw off the Bethlehem defense. That one was just a bit short.
So Marinopolis will drop back once again. Screen pass to Brantley. Oh, it just way overthrows him. And that will be incomplete.
Definitely a bit of a tough play, and it was interesting how he was stepping back. He stepped way behind the line of scrimmage, was almost hopping. And so I think he was trying to get in the flow of it a little bit, try to find someone who was open. It just didn't work out, and so now it is 3rd down and about 8.
So 3rd and 8 for the Dutchmen at Bethlehem's 29-yard line. Marinopolis in the gun with Brantley next to him. Marinopolis dropping back, throws a bullet right straight through the hands of Joe Parkin. That was almost picked off by Shira. Joe Park wide open, little high throw, and Park just couldn't come down with it.
I think this was an interesting play because there were 2 receivers going for that exact same spot. You had Park, which was just over his head, and then you had Steven Fedorchuk just behind him. It looked like on that play it was intended for Fedorchuk, and as you could see, he was frustrated at the end of that play. So sometimes bad communication can lead to bad results.
So 4th and 8 now for the Dutchman. Marinopolis surveying his options, will throw right to Park again, and Joe Park another drop, and Bethlehem will get it back.
Just great defense by Bethlehem, and it's hard. It's one of those heartbreaking things for the Dutchmen. Now they have to focus on the defense. And so they couldn't make any plays on there, so it's, as I mentioned before, down to the defense. They got to stop Bethlehem from making another score.
So 7:40 left to go in the 3rd quarter, and Bethlehem will take over at their own 29-yard line, where they will look to extend upon their recently taken lead of 7-6 here in the 3rd. Montalvo handing off to Mendelson, who just runs straight into a pile up the middle.
And so we have talked about Bethlehem's rushing game. We've talked about Mendelson, 4 TDs and 620 rushing yards before this game. And so they've been trying to mix it up by going to the outside and going up the middle. Going up the middle is just like running into a brick wall. You just can't break through a defense as tough as the Guilderland when they're centered around the middle. So they try to mix it up, but when they go up the middle, usually it doesn't work out.
Whistles blowing, and Bethlehem will use a timeout here with 7:06 left to go in the 3rd. Now holding a 7-6 lead over the Dutchmen. You mentioned this stat earlier, Jason. Something incredible for this Eagle team is they're 0-3 at home this year, but they're 4-0 on the road. And it's not like they've had an incredibly hard home schedule. It's possible a couple wins over Columbia and Shaker were very possible. Both came up short, and they had a fairly easy road schedule this year with Colony, B-Spa, Schenectady, and LaSalle. Some common opponents there with Guilderland, not the same results, obviously. But I think maybe that has to give them some confidence coming into this game when you have such a record as they do on the road.
Yeah, sometimes I just feel bad for some of their home fans. I mean, for most of those guys, I mean, losing every game at home and then winning every game away, it's like, come on. It's kind of hard to describe, but it looks like being away is the advantage for Bethlehem. 2nd
and 9, Mount Alvo chucking it deep again. The same play, it seemed like, to Rodriguez. The Dutchmen just need to find a way to defend it. But I think until then, Bethlehem will just keep going to it.
Rodriguez almost with another big catch. We saw him earlier in the quarter with a big 50-yard catch. and that led to their first score of the game. And he almost got another one. And we saw Kevin Murphy on the play, who's had some trouble lately, including dropping an onside kick against Shen, and luckily making up for it with a big interception. But he's had some troubles, and so he's going to be really important on this defense.
Look like he's came in for Connor Traeger, the sophomore cornerback, and his first start today is something we'll have to keep an eye on as we go along in this third quarter. Mount Alva rolling to his right once again. Hines chasing him, and he's looking for a receiver right, but there he is. Kevin Murphy stepping up there, knocking it away.
And as I mentioned before, he's made some mistakes, but he's known for making up for them. He had, as I mentioned before, made the interception last game against Shen. He almost got one there, so he's a guy who's really good at making up for his mistakes, and when he gets into it, he really gets into it.
Player down on the Guilderland sideline, not sure who it is. It was the intended Bethlehem receiver. Right on the Dutchman sideline, we'll have to see who it is once he gets up. But currently being tended to by the trainer here at parts of the Bethlehem coaching staff.
And we mentioned injuries before, and this is just not going to be good. Just adding injuries on top of injuries, it's just not going to be good for the Dutchmen. And as we mentioned, many of them, Jared Schwartz out with a broken femur, and many of the other injuries before, it's just not been good for the Dutchmen.
That was not a Dutchman player that was hurt. It was Dylan Rodriguez, the aforementioned Bethlehem receiver, who's been one of their top receivers so far this year. Actually has the most catches of every single Shen player this year. So 4th and 9, they'll punt it away. Nick Mosier doing the duties once again, and Steve Fedorchak will come up for the fair catch at the 37-yard line.
I definitely wonder what they are going to be doing for this next drive. They've been mixing it up, running game, passing game, sometimes short, sometimes long. And it looks like what's going to be really important is communication. We saw in that play the miscommunication between Park and Fedorchak. So, as I mentioned before, you have to be on the same page. I think not just in the tight situations, but just in every situation when it comes to the postseason.
So Guilderland will take over at their 37-yard line. 4 receivers once again. Brantley the lone back. Joe Park coming in motion, but Brantley will take the handoff, power forward for a gain of about 2.
And so we see the play, handing it off to Brantley, trying to fake it to Park. And it's been frustrating because Brantley just hasn't been getting those big gaps. And that's where he thrives, as I mentioned before. And sometimes it's just frustrating. A guy who's had such a great record this season really having some trouble against the Bethlehem defense.
Stephon Brantley being looked to mainly as the number 1 fullback with the list of injuries going on for the Dutchmen. Park on the end around left to right, and he'll fall across the 40 as Colin Baker caught him by the shoe tops.
Another great play by Colin Baker, another pretty big defensive player behind Mendelson and Palo. And it looks like they're focusing on the running game, just like Bethlehem. Bethlehem has been striving with the running game, so I don't know if they're trying to match what they've been doing, but right now it's not been working for the Dutchmen.
3rd and 6 at the 41, a big third down here. Dutchman offense still looking to get cooking. Marinopoulos takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and rolls left. Looking over the middle has got Cody Custard, and Custard has room. Custard laying a head on into Chris Harvey, and he's down inside the 30.
I mean, Cody Custard, what a great catch. And he really ran it. I mean, he really took it to Chris Harvey. You see him right there, took him over like a bulldozer. And just one of those guys that you really don't want to mess with, especially on a football field. You're talking 6'4", about 215. And as we see on this play, a guy who can really run and I'm sorry, 6'4", 195. But he's one of those guys who can just run anybody over. Guy who's tough offensively and defensively.
Gain of 30 yards on the dot to the 29. Marinopolis, the toss to Brantley, and he gets hit a couple times behind the line. Mendelson came in first, and Shiraw came in and finished the job. Interesting play there. We haven't seen the toss so far this evening, but Coach Penna and staff breaking it out there.
And as we see Mendelson, a player who's incredibly agile, a guy who's able to move very fast in very tough situations, one who doesn't run straight but runs everywhere, who could take out a guy from 50 feet away if he wanted to in the blink of an eye. Someone who is incredibly lethal on any part of the field.
3rd and 12 at the 31. 2nd and 12, I should say. Marinopolis fires a bullet over the middle to Fedorchak, where he is tackled by Pilo. And Steven Fedorchak, usually see him going to the fade route, but I think now with multiple injuries, you really just need all hands on deck and guys to run a bunch of different routes, no matter what they may be.
I definitely agree. And basically with all the options that you have, you want to try and mix it up, catch the defense off guard, and it's good to use all of your receivers. Don't use just one.
3rd and 4 at the 23, and Marinopolis looking to go right back to Fedorchak, but it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Fedorchak coming in wide open on the inside route, but tipped at the line.
And so it was just...
We'll look to see by who. Looked like it was one of the interior defensive linemen, maybe number 72, Joe Bintz, not sure. But it will be 4th down, and the Dutchman will go for it on 4th and 4.
It was just that little tip that was able to throw that pass off. Sometimes it doesn't take a big sack or a big tackle to disrupt a play. Sometimes it just has to be something really little to throw something completely off.
Marinopolis this time looking left, and he's looking for Fedorchak, I believe it was, and it was a big completion there just to the 1st down line on the out route, and he's out at the 15. Yes, plenty of yards for the 1st down, and the Dutchmen keep it moving.
Fedorchak, another nice play, his 3rd catch of the night, and as we saw in that play, made a nice V-cut. He's really good at throwing the defense off guard, moving all over the place. He's not a person who just goes straight. He's a guy that moves all over.
At the 15-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Dutchmen. Brantley will take the handoff, trying to go up the middle, but will go to the right, and Mendelson will run him down. Haven't called his name as much in the second half, Steve Mendelson, but he's still having one heck of a game.
I think it's been tough for Brantley. He's a guy who would track, and it looks like Mendelson's just keeping up with them wherever he goes. It looks like Brantley's found a guy who's equally as fast as him.
So it'll be 2nd and 15 at the 20, or excuse me, 2nd and 16 at the 21. And the Dutchman will look to get something here. Marinopolis throwing it deep to the left, looking for Park, tipped and just out of his reach. And Joe Park is down and injured down at the 1-yard line, trying to stretch it out, so hopefully just some cramps, but we'll look at this play. Good play on the defense by Bethlehem. And there he is once again, Steve Mendelson just coming over, getting his hand in, and knocking it away.
Mendelson just threw Park off just by that little bit, and Park almost had it. I think it was an interesting play. It was almost an interception, yet almost a touchdown. So it was definitely a very crazy play. Looks like Park is all right. George Marinopolis just has to reset.
3rd and 16 at the 21. Marinopolis over the middle to Custard on the tight end screen. Cody Custard down to the 7. Mendelson there and number 7, Mosier. But it is going to be close to a 1st down. I think if Mendelson doesn't hit him, he's got it. But Steve Mendelson, once again, what a great play.
Cody Custard, a guy at the right place at the right time, He's not a guy who just catches it and goes down. He's a guy who takes the ball and advances. He's a guy who's been able to run with the ball, as we saw on the play before, and he's been able to not just catch the ball, but run with it for a good amount of yardage.
Down to the 6 on 4th and 1. Marinopolis just runs it forward and runs into the end zone. Didn't believe he was down, but they did call him down. Well, look at the replay here. He just never went down. I don't know where the whistle comes in. But they do give him a first down. And the Dutchmen will have a brand new set down at the 3.
It's definitely one of those interesting plays because the ref called him down, but as you can see, he obviously was up the whole time. And these are one of the plays that I typically see George at. Before, he was running it from about the 6, way out. And so now he's trying to get it closer to the goal line.
First and goal at the 3. Park trying to spin off some tacklers and can't do that as he stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
And as we see here, Park trying to get up the middle. It's definitely tough. Both defenses have been doing a great job, and especially when it comes close to the goal line. They are fighting for every inch, but they're also protecting them from getting to the goal every inch.
No gain, so 2nd and 6. Park still trying to stretch out his leg. He'll take the handoff once again, run over a defender and into the end zone. Touchdown, Dutchman.
And another great play by Joe Park. Really got back up on his feet, ran all the way, and gets the Dutchman another touchdown. They are up 12-7, and another great play by Joe Park and the Guilderland offense.
So Joe Park, his 2nd touchdown of the night, just runs over Ben Wander, falls into the end zone, and Marinopolis stays on the field. The Dutchman will look to go for 2.
So with 22 seconds left, it looks like they might be going for another 2-point conversion. It failed in the first half, but it looks like they're going to go for it again.
Marinopolis will send a receiver in motion, and we get flags. We'll see what it is. It will be against the Dutchman. We'll have a Shen Shaker update coming up after this 3rd quarter. They're obviously the winner of this game gets the winner of that one. And after a 5-yard penalty against the Dutchman on the 2-point conversion, they'll be at the 7.
So it looks like the Guilderland offense still going with the 2-point conversion, not going for the extra point. So what failed the first time might work now.
Marinopolis rolling to his left, looking, will run it, tries to bounce over a defender, but is pushed out of bounds. Couldn't get to the end zone, but nevertheless, the Dutchman will have a lead. An awkward score, 12-7 it is. As we see Marinopolis just tried to run for it, but Mendelson once again pushing him out. Chris Harvey once again in there too, and he goes out of bounds just a couple yards short, where the Dutchman will have a 12-7 lead.
A fantastic job by Bethlehem. I mean, they covered up every spot that Marinopolis could throw to. The only option for him was to just run it. And so, in particular, with such great receivers like Fedorchek and everyone else, it was really great for Bethlehem to stop them and just make George run it.
So we're going to go to the score update. Shaker is leading Shen through 3 quarters, 14-10. A game we're keeping an eye on very closely, as hopefully the Dutchman will squeak this one out. Won't be very easy, as Bethlehem's shown a very good fight tonight. 12-7, 22 seconds left.
I think it is kind of interesting. You're talking about a team who is undefeated in the regular season, and Bethlehem, who is 4-3, kind of fighting for that playoff spot. So you kind of wonder if Bethlehem's doing a lot better because they have a little more fight while the Dutchmen are undefeated.
So the kickoff will bounce to the 21, where Harvey will pick it up. Number 21. Hess tries to run him down, misses. Igwiki And Matt Clark, look at the kicker getting down there and getting his hands dirty.
Matt Clark, the kicker, doesn't know how just to kick the ball, but he also knows how to kick butt. I mean, we saw in that play him going down. What a great play by Matt Clark, and they were really pushing number 21 Chris Harvey over to the left, and this was a play where he's usually done great getting around the outside, but looks like the Dutchman just slammed all the doors shut. He had nowhere to go.
So the return started at the 21, only got 2. And at the 23, the drive will begin on 1st and 10. Mendelson taking the handoff, caught at the line.
Looks like the Dutchmen have been adjusting to Bethlehem's running game. Bethlehem has been doing a lot of running up the middle, but also running to the outside. On this one, they tried to move over to the left, but it seemed like the whole Guilderland defense moved to the left with them. They've been adjusting left and right, up and down, and they're really making the Bethlehem running game work.
So Freddie Peters there, good job in on the tackle. And the third quarter comes to an end. Once again, we're keeping a close eye in the Shen Shaker game as the winner of this one will play the winner of that one. And the Dutchmen hold a 12-7 lead here at Guilderland High School. Jason Polatsky and Jason Sindoni joining you. We thank you for joining us on tonight's broadcast as the Dutchmen look to continue one of their best seasons in program history. We've talked about it all year. Their best win total in school history has been 8. 7-2 last year. Coach Penna putting together another solid squad this year. They had 8 wins in 2007, and a win tonight would match that record, and it is incredibly possible that they could go past that record and look to get 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many wins do you want to keep going? I'm sure this team will have to go very far, and I think we know that it is very possible for them to do that.
Yeah, it definitely depends on this win here tonight. This is the toughest battle that I think the Guilderland Dutchmen have seen all season. It is tight with only a 5-point lead. Every play is going to count.
So Montalvo will drop back. Will look to throw. Cody Custard strip sack. Fallen on by Matt Cunningham. Cody Custard on the blind side. He knew that he was going to lay the wood, and he did it.
Yeah, when you talk about Cody Custard, the beast is unleashed. Custard is bringing the mustard. I mean, you can give a bunch of names here, but another great play, and it was good for Bethlehem to recover that ball, and great for Cody Custard to cause a fumble. Looks like it just got into the hands of the Eagles, and Guilderland's just got to try again to mess up that offensive line.
So a loss of 7, 3rd and 15. Cody Custard with the strip sack, and we hear whistles. Be a timeout on the field. Good timing for the timeout as we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but the camera's back, so it will be 3rd and 15 after this timeout. And this game's still a close one, 12-7. 11-18 left to go, and Dutchmen looking to keep their championship aspirations still alive, as a win today would move them on to next week's matchup against the winner of Shen Shaker that we've constantly talked about. Don't think there's a favorable matchup there, but it's definitely favorable that it will be on the home field.
You talk about such a great team now, and I think a lot of times we thought about the future, including many of the JV call-ups, Connor Traeger, talking about Cardinal, a lot of guys. I mean, what do you think about the future?
Future's very bright, but although I'd love to talk about the future, this is our senior year at Guilderland High School. We're only worried about this year. By Alvo with the handoff, and the run there by Riley Palo. And Tyler Hess in on there on the stop. Palo, no gain, I believe, there. Good job by the Dutchman defense. And after the gain of 2, they'll be forced to punt.
Palo was just tearing apart everybody for every inch and even lost his helmet on that play. Great job by the defense from preventing someone like him from getting a lot of yards.
Mosier the punt. And Fedorchak will have to just keep going back and will let it roll out of bounds at the 33-yard line. So a good punt there by Nick Mosier. He's done a good job so far this evening. And with 10:34 left, the Dutchmen will retain possession. And while by any means I don't think a touchdown would put this game out of reach for Bethlehem, but I think you would definitely love it if you put your defense back on the field with a 2-possession lead.
I mean, this is just going to be big for Guilderland. As I mentioned before, every play is going to count. George Marianopoulos has been doing a great job with the passing game. I think it's all going to depend on the running game, as we saw Brantley having some troubles tonight, and some of the rushes just haven't been working out. So a mix of both is going to be really beneficial for the Dutchmen.
So we'll have to see what the Dutchmen do as they look to drive down the field here, as Marianopoulos will hand it off to Park in the backfield, who breaks off some tackles, and he ran right into Chris Harvey, and Harvey won the battle there.
Looks like he also was stopped by number 44, Riley Palo. I mean, he's a guy who's really tough. A guy, I think for him it is his senior year, a guy who is a running back and a linebacker at 5'11", 200 pounds. A really tough defensive and offensive player, and he's been tough all game for the Dutchmen.
So Riley Palo also there on the tackle, gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 30. Marianopoulos once again in the shotgun. Gallup going in motion. Possible jump on the left side of the offense, but no flag, and Gallup will receive the pass from Marianopoulos, make a move on a tackler, and he is brought down by Wander. Leo Sai also there, but a first down for the Dutchmen.
Another great play by Gallup, and someone who's done a really great job so far this game, as mentioned, has had some ankle injuries past couple games, and it's really good to see him back on the field. This one, he was just wide open, almost went down, but was able to get himself back up and get a few extra yards.
So down to the 50-yard line. Big gain there, and the Dutchman will have prime opportunity. Run there up the middle, and Brantley's just stopped. Harvey came in after the whistle and pushed the pile to the ground, but no whistle there.
Brantley tried to go up the middle, and it just seemed like no one was going to help him out. Number 55, Clayne Bastiani, was trying to be a shield for him, but he just went out of the way, and Brantley was just helpless on there.
So a loss there on the run by Brantley. They called forward progress at the 49, so only a loss of 1. 2nd and 11. Marianopoulos dropping back. He'll look to Gallup, and Evan Gallup right in his hands, just couldn't hang on. And the drop bug has just hit the Dutchman hard tonight. Multiple players having a hard time holding on to the ball.
Definitely a tough play for Gallup, and very frustrating for Marianopoulos. He threw it really well. I think it was just a matter of which side of the ball he was going to be on. It seemed like it was curving a little bit, so it might have threw him off guard, but now it is 3rd and 11, and this is going to be huge right now.
So a huge 3rd down for the Dutchman. Marianopoulos with 4 receivers, 3 bunched to the right and 1 to the left. He's going to throw it deep. Marianopoulos looking for Fedorchak. It was a jump ball with number 20, Ethan Shiraw. Both were just standing under it. That ball had a lot of air under it, and that falls incomplete to Fedorchak on the fade with Shiraw on the coverage.
Great defensive play by number 20, Ethan Shira, and Fedorchak was trying to look for the passer's interference on that play. It looked like it wasn't going to be likely because he wasn't close to the ball, and so it's going to be tough right now. It's 4th and down, and they're going to punt.
So Marianopoulos doing the punting with Mason Leto out. That ball will hit at the 30, roll inside the 20 to the 19. George Marinopoulos doing the punting duty, something that we haven't seen all year, but that gets inside the 20, and Bethlehem will have another chance to regain the lead with 8:06 left to go.
I mean, I've seen a lot of amazing things from the Dutchmen this year, but I mean, Marianopolis kicking off. I mean, that guy could almost do everything. It's pretty impressive to see a guy do multiple jobs, as we've seen many times. We've seen Fedorchuk on the offense and the defense, and now Marianopolis. I think it's fun watching him play while his backup QB Mason Lido is out.
So with Mason Lido out, that does leave Connor Traeger as the backup, the sophomore who just got called up last week. We've talked about. And Montalvo will throw to Rodriguez to the left. Breton and Gallup hit him immediately. Gallup and Winslow will get recognition there on the tackle.
Rodriguez, as we mentioned before, is such an important factor, and it was pretty nervous earlier. I think it was the third quarter where he went down hard. A lot of people thought he was hurt. Luckily, he was able to get up and get back in the game, and he's a guy who's leading his team in touchdowns with 6, and Mendelson behind him with 5.
2nd and 9 at the 20 for Bethlehem. Montalvo will play action pass. He's going to look to throw it deep once again, and he's looking for Harvey there and just overthrew him, incomplete.
Just out of the reach of Harvey, we've seen Montalvo make a lot of big, long passes, but we've also seen him miss a lot of big, long passes where they really would have counted. And so right out of the hands of Harvey, he was way ahead of number 22, Cardinal, and so that would have been huge for the Eagles on that play.
But it looks like a big penalty there against the Dutchmen will move Bethlehem forward. Not sure what the penalty was. A 10-yard penalty that will give him a first down apparently at the 29-yard line.
I did not see the play, but it looked like it was a holding call. And as I mentioned before, the little things are going to make a big difference. The Eagles were in a tough spot. Now they have a first down, and it's going to be good for them.
Mendelson running right, looking for the edge, and he runs into Cardinal, but runs kind of over him and gets a couple extra yards out of it. Nick Cardinal playing the important minutes here as we come down near the halfway point of the fourth quarter.
Mendelson has been just absolutely fierce so far this game. You're talking about his great plays defensively and his great job offensively. And it stinks for the Eagles that his first big play of the game had to be taken back. But he's made up for it, and he's been doing a fantastic job for the Eagles.
So they'll go right back to Mendelson, Hines, and Winslow there on the tackle. Will be close to the line of scrimmage. We'll see where they mark it.
Another great play by the Guilderland defense. As we see, it looked like Patrick Winslow on the play with a little bit of number 64, Andy Hines. And it's pretty close, but it looks like it's going to be 3rd and 1. It is close, and they're going to really battle for this first down.
This is a huge play right here where it will be 3rd and 1. And if they don't get it, Bethlehem was sure to go for the 4th down conversion, but you want to put the pressure on Bethlehem. Montalvo handing it off to Mendelson. He's caught right at the line, and I don't think he got there. Mikey Breton, Freddie Peters. Also looks like Winslow once again, and I think he stopped.
And a great play. I mean, right there, they just turned Mendelson into a football sandwich right there. A really tough defensive play, especially when you're talking about probably within 1 yard of gaining a first down. Fantastic job by the defense, and it looks like the Eagles are scratching their heads trying to find another play.
4th and half a yard. We'll see what they do. The power set once again with only 2 wide receivers, 3 in the backfield. Hand it off to Mendelson. He's going to run right, and he'll have the first down. Just across the first down line. Looked a lot more sure to that, but he got caught right at the 41, and he'll get the first.
Another great play by Mendelson. I was surprised they weren't going to do a quarterback sneak or sneak someone like Mendelson across the line. Instead, they went the long route, but it ends up working.
So Mendelson run right for a gain of 2 to the 41. And Shen will have a new set of downs. Montavlo looking for the deep ball once again. He's going to throw it up there. Fedorchak almost had the interception. Montavlo looking for Rodriguez, and Fedorchak was right there. Good job by Steven Fedorchak.
Another great play by Fedorchak. I mean, receiver over him, so it was a bit difficult to make that catch, but he did his job. Makes it uncomfortable for Montavlo to make those big passes, and now they set up for second down.
So it'll be second down and 10 for Bethlehem. 4:25 left to go. Boy, it is coming down. This is fun. This is fun football right here. 4:25 left to go. Montavlo, he's going to throw left to Leo C., who breaks a defender's tackler. Winslow, Patrick Winslow having one heck of a game with the tackle. Brandon Indovina also there.
It was a nice short pass to number 2, Leo C., and he's a guy who's just breaking tackle after tackle after tackle. A great job by Patrick Winslow, which we've mentioned his name a lot so far this game. A guy who's been just being great defensively time after time again, and it pushes to 3rd and 7 for the Eagles.
So a gain of 3 to, or excuse me, a gain of 2 to the 43. Or yeah, that is a gain of 3 to the 44. 3rd and 7. Montavlo looking for a receiver once again, going to the deep ball, looking for C once again, and what coverage there by Nick Cardinal, the sophomore, with a huge defensive play there.
The sophomores are stepping up. We've seen Cardinal, we've seen Traeger, and as we see here, what a play. I mean, Cardinal was just fighting for everything that he's got, and that just made a huge mark in this game, really set off the Eagles. It is 4th and 8, and depending on what the Eagles do, this is going to be one heck of a play.
Red Sea pep band getting very loud here. This is one big play on 4th and 7. We saw Kevin Murphy also with the dive coming in for the interception. Have to mention him. And before this 4th down play, Bethlehem will take a timeout, and with 3:20 left to go, the clock is still ticking on the score where we have 3:28. We'll see what they decide to put up there.
You mentioned how fun this game is, and it's kind of interesting how a game like this can be fun even, when the scores aren't that high. I think it's one of the first times besides that Shen game where I think throughout the whole game, it's just been battling inch for inch, play for play. Everything is a fight and everything is exciting despite the low score.
I think when you know that what is on the line is on the line, and it's the playoffs, and it's win or go home. Your season will continue, but you lose, you don't have a chance at the championship. And I think both teams severely want it. I know the Dutchmen do. I'm sure the Eagles just the same. So when it comes down to playoff games, especially plays like this, it only gets better. Montavlo in the shotgun. He'll drop back, look to throw. Rolls a little to his right, steps up. Still looking over the middle. Fades one over the middle and incomplete. Looking for Rodriguez, and he couldn't come down with it, and the Dutchman will get it off downs. Whistles all over the field.
Another great and it looked like Gallup was on that play. And just a little too high over Rodriguez. He was incredibly frustrated after that play. And it looks like Rodriguez is down on the field, and it was concerning because earlier it looked like he was there, but it looks a lot worse. So we'll see what his condition is.
So, man down on the field. It is Rodriguez, but he gets up. He's fine. And the Dutchmen, 12-7, 3:18 to go. A serious opportunity to put this game on ice with a touchdown here. And I'm sure which would be inside 3 minutes. Left to go to the fade, Steven Fedorchak. That seems to work pretty well, too. But a touchdown would be absolutely huge for the Dutchmen. Chances of victory with the ball at their opponent's 44 and 3:18 left to go.
This is going to be a real exciting last 3 minutes. We got 3:18 left at around midfield, and Marianopolis, he's got to get those juices flowing for this one last big drive.
Gallup in motion. He fumbles the handoff. Marianopolis just fell on it. Wow, the wind got sucked out of the stadium right there. That was almost really bad.
Yeah, I mean that was a crazy play. Most of the people in the crowd almost had a stroke after that one. And so, again, communication is going to be key. So with the handoff to Gallup, didn't really get it and almost caused a fumble that could have been a real big advantage for the Eagles.
So a loss of 4 there after the fumbled handoff, 2nd and 14 at the 48. Marianopolis handing off to Gallup. He tries to come through the middle, but is stopped there. Number 58, Kendall Harris.
And so this is another tough play, especially for Gallup. He got hammered by multiple defenders. And sometimes it's not about the yards that you get in this situation, but right now the time is ticking. We're already down to about the 2-minute warning. And so sometimes it's not about the big plays or the big yards, but it's how you strategize and how you slow the game down.
So gain of 1 there. Marianopolis stepping up, throws to Fedorchak, takes a big hit but holds on close to the first down line. Steven Fedorchak got blown up, but that's a legal hit right as he caught the ball.
I mean, Steve, he's a guy who will not take no for an answer. I mean, what a hit. It almost looked like his spine bent right on that play. He's slow to get up, and the trainer's out checking him out. Coach Penna out there. And, I mean, definitely for this guy, as we mentioned before, a top receiver in Section 2. He's been making plays left and right. And you mentioned before, Shenendaho was the only game where he was under 100 yards. So he's definitely got to be checked out, and right now he's looking okay.
Fedorchak took an absolute hit just straight to the midsection. Probably just got the wind knocked out of him as they bring the chains out to measure. That was Shira with a absolute crushing hit.
And as we see, Fedorchak wide open, but I mean, what a hit. He was up way in the air, and it's impressive that he was able to stay with the ball despite that hard hit. And he's one of those guys who's really great at doing that.
So we're going to see what they mark it, where they mark it. Looks like it is just short. And that it will be 4th and about half a yard at the 34. I think if you're Penna, you just put in the power unit. We see Tyler Hess coming on the field. You just push him forward. And Bethlehem will call a timeout with 1:47 left to go.
I definitely think I agree with you. It is exciting. It is intense. It is crazy. I mean, I could put so many more adjectives in there, but with 1:47 left and a 5-point lead for the Dutchmen, this is going to be really big. And sometimes football could be a game of inches.
And that's exactly what it will come down here. Big momentum swing if the Dutchmen can still have the ball with 1:47 or less than that left to go. Or if Bethlehem will get it back, a couple timeouts in their pocket. or one timeout in their pocket, but still 147 left to go, or that would be about 140 left to go. Still a big opportunity to come back and retake the lead and win this ball game.
And as we just saw, the Red Sea, just a huge benefactor for the spirit of the Guilderland football team. And as mentioned before, it has been rising in numbers ever since last year. The attendance was a bit low, but they have been overflowing in from left and right. And this year, the spirit has been over the top.
So we'll see what they do here. Marinopolis just sneaks it forward. He'll get the first, pushed across the line, and the Dutchman will get a first down as Marinopolis sneaks across the line. Got a couple yards, so he's well across the line for the first down. A injured Bethlehem player down. Looks like it is can't get a number exactly there. Number 72, Joe Bintz, the defensive tackle. We've seen him be in on some plays, providing pressure on Marinopolis, getting his hand up on a couple tip passes. He's done a good job so far this evening on the line.
Joe Bintz, the big center and the defensive end for the Eagles. In his senior year, big guy, 6'1", 240, and he's been huge on the defense. And right now, slow to get up, but he's doing all right, and looks like he'll be done for the rest of the game.
Greta Tyler has to go over there and show a great sign of sportsmanship to check on the injured opponent. We'll take a second to recognize Shaker beat Shenendehowa 14-10 in that quarterfinal match. So if the Dutchmen can hang on here, they will rematch with the Blue Bison in the semifinals of the Class AA playoffs. And boy, round 2 should be a good one, and that I will be here for. And that will be on our home turf as opposed to last year when it was at Shaker. I'm sure the Dutchmen will be looking for some revenge. I'm so mad I'm not going to be here next week, but I'm sure that will be a great game if the Dutchmen can pull out the victory. So the Dutchmen at their own 39, they only gave Marinopolis about half a yard. Or excuse me, at the 34. Looks like the other side of the 34-yard line, 34-yard marker. Seemed like it was more, but that's where the ball is placed, and we'll see what the Dutchmen do. A lot of big guys out there, so I wonder if maybe they're just going to take some knees. Bethlehem only does have one timeout left, so do you just suck it all the way down? I think that's what they're going to do. Marinopolis taking the knee. No, I believe we will win chant from the Red Sea yet, so I'm not sure if this game's really official. Bethlehem has one timeout left.
And it seems like they took the timeout, but
Bethlehem did not take the timeout. Handshakes being given by both sides. I wonder if, I can't imagine this game's just going to end right here. But I think with the knees given, the Dutchman will get the victory. You run it all the way down as long as you can without getting a delayed game call. There are no play clocks, but there is a certain amount of time you have to take the snap. Bethlehem not using their timeout, though, which is interesting. But Guilderland will escape here at home, continue their record season, go to 8-0, tie for the best in program history, move to the semifinals, play Shaker next week, and the dream continues for Coach Penda and this year's team, led by the senior-laden squad, as they will take the 12-7 victory over Bethlehem.
I mean, you just summed it up right there. It is hard to describe the feeling that these guys have, and it's been just such an amazing season. Offense, defense. I mean, you can name everybody on that team. Everybody has done something big.
So Bethlehem fans headed out. Disappointed tonight, but the Red Sea just the opposite, coming to life as the clock hits 0. And the Dutchman postseason run will continue. They move to 8-0. And we hope to be streaming next week's game against Shaker. Thank you to the Guilderland Public Library for their support on that one. as we hope to stream next week's game. I will not be here taking a college visit, but Jason, I'm sure, will do a great job taking the reins next week. We hope to have Jake Valenci also join our broadcast team as the Dutchmen take the victory 12-7 here at Guilderland High School. Jason, any final thoughts?
I mean, you said just about everything. A really hard defensive battle. We didn't see as much offense, but the Guilderland Dutchmen were able to pull it off 1 inch at a time, 1 play at a time. They moved to A&O, and it's going to be a really good semifinal battle.
So that will do it all for us here from Guilderland High School. For the GHS Media Broadcast Team, Jason Sindoni, I am Jason Pulaski. Once again, the final 12-7. We say good night.